students. As we have started a biological classification in the previous class, so we have completed kingdom Monera in biological classification. We are doing Whitaker's 5 kingdom classification, in which we are going to discuss about each kingdom along with its characteristic features and some examples. So kingdom Monera we have completed, and today we will start the kingdom Protista. So let me see what are the topics we are going to study. We are going to study the kingdom Protista and its various groups like chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, slime molds, and the protozoa. So these are the groups of the kingdom Protista. Here in the kingdom Protista, the members belonging to this group, they do not form a natural group, but have been grouped together for the convenience in this study, because some of the members, they show plant like features, some they show animal like. So for the convenience of the study, the 3 groups are made by the scientists here. So that first group is there in which the plant like protist they are kept. So plant like, it means it is the Protophyta. So in Protophyta group, the 3 this subgroups they come, that is chrysophytes, dinoflagellates and euglenoids. They show plant like features, so they come under the Protophyta. Another group is there, that is the animal like, in which that protozoa, the group protozoa is there, in which the animal like protists are placed. In this again the different classes are there: rhizopods, flagellates, ciliates and sporozoans. Here also we will study all these subgroups of protozoa along with the 2 characteristics. And the third group it is made, that is a slime mold. Here the fungus like that organisms, they are placed in the slime molds. So in this way we are going to study all the subgroups. Now we'll start with the general characteristics of the kingdom Protista. In the kingdom Protista, they are unicellular and eukaryotes. Unicellular, but in some organism they may be colonial. So when they are colonial, then they appear multicellular also, and some algae are also there, they are multicellular. They are mostly aquatic, although some live in moist soil or even in the human body also. And the mode of nutrition may be heterotrophic or autotrophic. You know, heterotrophic, it means they cannot synthesize their food on, they depend for their food on other organisms getting from outside. And autotrophic, that mode of nutrition is there in which the organism is capable to synthesize its own food in the body, that is autotrophic. You know, the plants are the autotrophic organisms. They may reproduce by the sexual or asexual means, and they form cysts during the adverse conditions. So cysts are there, in which that outer protective covering is formed under the adverse condition to protect itself. So cyst formation is also seen. Now these are the general characteristics. Now we are going to study the different groups and their specific features. So first we will start with the plant like protist. So classification, as I discussed already with you, that here the chrysophytes, dinoflagellate and here the euglenoids, they are plant like. So chrysophytes, dinoflagellates and euglenoids, they are plant like protists, so they are placed in the subdivision Protophyta. And here the protozoans, they are the animal like, and they have further their 4 classes on the basis of the locomotory organelles. And the third group is there, slime mold. So mainly 5 subgroups are there, we are going to discuss. So here we'll study first that plant like protist, in which the first that group is there, phylum is there, that is the chrysophytes. This group includes diatoms and golden algae, which is known as desmids also. So this group has diatoms and algae, that is the desmids. They are found in the freshwater as well as in the marine environment both. They are microscopic and float passively in the water current. So they are known as the phytoplanktons also, and most of them, they are photosynthetic. For example, you can see here in the diagram, that is Triceratium and Pinularia. Now next that other features will conclude here. Marine and freshwater habitats means they are found in the marine water, sea water also, and freshwater also. They are unicellular. Some may join together to form the colony like filamentous algae, and they float passively along with the water current, and we call them as the phytoplanktons. Cell wall of the golden brown algae and diatoms are made up of cellulose. So cell wall is made up of cellulose, and pectic materials are also present in the cell wall. In diatoms especially, the cell wall is heavily impregnated with silica. So the silica SiO2 molecules are present in the cell wall of the diatoms, and because of that armored appearance is observed in the diatoms. And they store food there. The reserve food is there in the form of leucocene, the kind of carbohydrate which is known as the leucocene, and also in the form of oil droplets. So store food in the form of oil droplets, that is fat, and leucocene, that is the carbohydrate. And during sexual reproduction, each daughter cell retains one half of the old cell wall and synthesizes the other new half, that we will study in the diatoms. So in diatoms, what happens here, the cell wall actually form two thin overlapping shells which together there as in the soap box, and here these two overlapping shells are termed as the frustules. These frustules have largely constructed silica. So this is seen in the diatoms. And examples of the Chrysophyta are there, that is the Echinanthes and the Cyclotella. These are the diatoms. So let me see here that some diagrams of the diatoms and the golden brown algae. Diatoms, they are beautiful microscopic photosynthetic algae, and they are commonly known as the jewels of the sea. Why it is so? Because of this characteristic that their body covering, because their cell wall is heavily impregnated with the silica, and their cell wall it forms two thin overlapping shells, and these shells, they are arranged together just like a soap box, and here these overlapping shells are known as the frustules of the different shapes, and silica is present in them. So this outer covering, that we call it as frustules, it is made up of the silica, and two halves of the frustules, they fit together just like a soap box. Diatoms species are distinguished on the basis of the shape. You can see the different shapes of the frustules are there, somewhere the elongated, somewhere the triangular, somewhere the circular. So these diatom species are distinguished on the basis of the shape of their frustules, and diatoms are the source of diatomaceous earth, and these are the chief producers in the ocean. Now here the golden brown algae, they are generally known as the desmids also. In them, some of that algae, some species, they do not have the cell wall, and while some other have the pectin rich wall. Pectin is present, and this golden brown algae can move by using one or two flagella. So flagella are also present in them. An example of the golden brown algae are their Dinobrayon and Ochromonas. So these are some examples you have to learn. These are the members of the Chrysophyta, diatoms and the golden brown algae, which is known as the desmids also. Now the next phylum is there, that is Pyrophyta, in which the dinoflagellate comes. So what are the characteristic features? They are marine, but some may be there found in the fresh water. Cell wall contains cellulose and divided into plates, giving armored appearance. So they are actually have their cell wall in the form of the plates. So outer body provide the armored appearance. They possess two flagella. We see here the two flagella of unequal length. So flagella are also present in their body. These flagella of unequal length, one placed longitudinally and other placed transversely in the groove between the plates of cell wall. They store that food as a starch. Photosynthetic pigments are present in them, chlorophyll A and C. Accessory pigments are also there, carotenoids, xanthophyll, including fucoxanthin. Reproduce only by the asexual method, and they multiply very fast, and it can cause a temporarily abundance in their number in water bodies. As they multiply very fast, so their numbers they increase very fast. So they cause red tide also, because they are found in the different colors also. So they are responsible for the red tide because of the resulting red color of the water. Red tide can be toxic to the marine animals also. And some species of the dinoflagellates, they show the bioluminescence, that is their body produces light, emit light. So they show the bioluminescence. The examples are there like the Goniolax, Glenodinium and Gymnodinium. So here you can see these are the red tide. Now very often red dinoflagellates, example Goniolax, they undergo rapid multiplication. So they reproduce asexually very rapidly, and they make the sea appear as red, and so the red tides are there. And toxins released by such large number of these dinoflagellates, they may even kill the other marine animals also, like the fishes. So this is the phylum Pyrophyta or dinoflagellates. Now next we will study the phylum Euglenophyta, or the euglenoids are there. So these euglenoids are mostly, they are fresh waters. They do not have the true cell wall, but the body it is bounded by a thin and elastic covering that is known as the pellicle. So the pellicle is present outside, that is thin and elastic covering. Then the mode of nutrition is there mixotrophic. Why mixotrophic? Because most of the euglenoids, they have chloroplast. So they have chloroplast, and you know chloroplast, it means they can synthesize their food with the help of photosynthesis. Some species, however, they are heterotrophic and feed on the organic material suspended in the water. So thus their mode of food is the mixotrophic, means have photosynthetic, that is autotrophic also, in the heterotrophic, both the mode of nutrition. And their primary photosynthetic that organs are there, that is chlorophyll A and B, carotenoid and xanthophyll, both are present. One or two or three flagella are there. So you can see this is the flagellum. So one or two, three flagella may be there, and these flagella are for the locomotion. They reserve their food, means they store the reserve food as the paramylon. And asexual reproduction takes place by the longitudinal binary fission, and they also form cysts to avoid the unfavorable conditions. So example you have seen, this is the euglena. Now next we are going to study the slime molds. Slime molds were formerly classified as fungi, but are no longer considered as a part of that kingdom, and their common name refers to part of some these organism life cycle where they can appear as the gelatinous slime. So they appear just like a slime in the life cycles of some organisms, so they are named as the slime mold. These slime molds are usually found among us decaying vegetation, do not have the chlorophyll, so they absorb food from the decaying vegetation, and their mode of nutrition in this case is known as the saprotrophic. Now saprotrophic is there, like protozoa. Here actually these organisms, they resemble both protozoa and true fungi also. How? Like protozoa in their amoeboid plasmodial stage. So in their amoeboid plasmodial stage, they appear like the protozoa, and when they form the spore, at that time they appear like a fungi. So that is why they resemble both as protozoa and the true fungi. Now they exhibit wide range of coloration, found in many colors. Then reproduces sexually and asexually. both means asexually by the spore formation. So these are the slime molds. Examples are there, Physarum and Dictyostelium. So students learn the examples also. Now next we will study protozoa. So protozoa, as I said you, animal like protists are the protozoa. Protozoa further they are classified on the basis of their mode of locomotion. So let me see here. Protozoa. The first that class of the protozoa is Rhizopoda. In the Rhizopoda, the locomotory organelle is the Pseudopodia, means they move with the help of Pseudopodia. Next class is Flagellata. The organisms of the Flagellata, they move with the help of flagella. Then next is Ciliata. Next class is Ciliata, in which the organisms they move with the help of cilia. Next that class is the Sporozoa. In Sporozoa, as such, no organelle for the locomotion. So we are going to study the characteristic features of these classes along with the examples. So the first that class is the Flagellata. In Flagellata, there are organelles for the locomotion, and which organelles of the locomotion? They are the flagella. So flagella are the organs for the locomotion, and they capture food also with the help of this. And further, the body is covered by a semi-rigid covering which is known as the pellicle. So outer body covering is known as the pellicle. It gives them a definite shape. Then the food. They ingest organic material by osmotrophy. Osmotrophy means what is there? Uptake of dissolved organic compound through plasma membrane. So with the help of plasma membrane they take the food in. And phagotrophy is there. They engulf the that food or the prey in the food vacuole. So food vacuoles are also formed in the phagotrophy. Then asexual reproduction takes place by the longitudinal binary fission. That is asexual reproduction. Examples are there, Trypanosoma, then Trichonympha and Leishmania. Actually they cause disease. Like Trypanosoma is there. Here this is Trypanosoma. The Trypanosoma, it causes sleeping sickness in humans. And Trichonympha is there. It leaves a symbiont in the gut of insects. And Giardia lamblia also, it causes giardiasis in humans, and Leishmania, which causes Kala Azar in humans. So all these are the organism belongs to the class Flagellata. Then we will study the class Rhizopoda. In class Rhizopoda, the characteristic feature is there that they move with the help of Pseudopodia. These are the organelles which are known as the Pseudopodia. With the help of that they move. They are usually uninucleate, means the single nucleus is present in their body, and body is covered by the plasma lemma. Plasma lemma is actually the outer body covering, or a shell may be there. Holozoic nutrition is there. Holozoic means they ingest the food and they digest it internally in the cell. So that is holozoic nutrition. This is osmoregulation is by the contractile vacuole. So contractile vacuole are there which are responsible for the osmoregulation activity. And reproduction takes place by the binary fission, that is asexual reproduction by binary fission and sexual reproduction by the syngamy. Examples are there, amoeba, entamoeba and foraminiferans. So you can see here structure of amoeba. Here it is the ectoplasm and endoplasm. This ectoplasm and endoplasm together it forms a cytoplasm. In the center you can see the nucleus. Food vacuoles are there, as I said you, holozoic nutrition. So internally digestion taking place in the cell. Plasma membrane, that is the plasma lemma, and these are the pseudopodia. With the help of these structure they move. Now the next class we will study, that is Ciliata. Ciliata, as it is clear from the name, cilia. So here the organelle of that locomotion are the cilia. So the locomotion by cilia, and they also help in the capturing the food also. So with the help of cilia, you can see here, these are the cilia at the outer covering of the body. Everywhere you can see these are the cilia. So cilia help in capturing the food also. Here also the mode of that nutrition is the holozoic, and body is covered by pellicle. The outer covering of the body is the pellicle. They show high degree of morphological specialization. How it is there? That there are definite regions in their body for ingestion of the food and egestion also. So here what are these parts or the regions? So regions for the ingestion are there: oral grooves, then cytostome and gullet. You can see here, this is the buccal overture. Here this is oral groove through which that ingestion process starts. This is cytostome, that is the cell mouth. So through it this shows the region of the ingestion through which the food is ingested. And egestion is also, this is the anal pore, that is the cytoproctor, we call it the cytopyge. So understood, this is the high degree of morphological specialization. Single cell, but we can understand the degree of morphological specialization. Now they have contractile vacuole, 1 or 2 contractile vacuole for the osmoregulation, and nuclear dimorphism is also seen here. Nuclear dimorphism, it means occurrence of two types of nuclei. The larger that nucleus is known as the macronucleus, and the smaller one is known as the micronucleus. What is the role of the macronucleus? You can see here, micro and macronucleus both are present in the cell. This is the macronucleus, and here it is the micronucleus. So what is the role of the macronucleus? Macronucleus controls the metabolic activity of the cell, and it is known as the vegetative nucleus also, while the micronucleus, it takes part in the sexual reproduction. Therefore it is known as the reproductive nucleus also. So understood children, nuclear dimorphism, two types of nuclei are present. Examples are here: the paramecium, verticella, ballentidium, which is human parasite, and this is the diagram of paramecium you are seeing here. This is the paramecium. So cilia covering the body, pellicle is the outer covering is there, pellicle, and holozoic nutrition, dimorphism of the nucleus is there. So these all that are the main characteristic features. Now next is the class Sporozoa. In Sporozoa, they are exclusively parasites, so they always occur as the parasite only. They do not have the organelles for the locomotion. Their mode of nutrition is parasitic, as I said you already, exclusively parasite. Contractile vacuole, they are absent in them. And life cycle is very complex. It may be completed in one host. As I said you, parasite means they live on the body of other organism. That is known as the host. So their life cycle is complicated. It may be completed in one host. If it is completed in one host, then it is the monogenetic life cycle. If they complete their life cycle in two hosts, then it is known as the digenetic. Asexual reproduction takes place by the binary fission, and sexual that reproduction, it involves the gamete formation, fertilization, and the spore formation also. Examples are the Plasmodium. Plasmodium is the malarial parasite, and Monocystis. So you can see here the Plasmodium, which is present in the RBC, which is responsible to cause the malaria. These are the Plasmodium, this is RBC, and this is the that Monocystis. So this is the last class of that subdivision. We have studied Protozoa. So understood children, along with the characteristic features and their examples. So the key points again we are going to revise: kingdom Protista and its general characteristics. Then groups of the kingdom Protista, they are chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, euglenoids. They show plant like features, means they have the chlorophyll. slime molds, that is fungus like but not actually fungus, they are saprotrophic. And next group is the animal like, that is protozoa, includes 4 classes: Rhizopoda, Flagellata, Ciliata and Sporozoa. So students, we have completed this portion. You revise it and learn the examples of each group properly, and study the diagram also, so you can identify with the help of the features that to which that group this organism belongs. So revise it and ask your doubts.